had to call my mom. I just said, like, okay, like, I'm tired. yeah, lender who have refused to do business with us.
No, we don't take help.
Goodtalent is a talent marketplace for global companies to crowdsource, screen, hire, and pay remote software engineers. I have been in recruitment for over 15 years, the recruitment industry, and I first got started in recruitment back in 2006 as a trainee recruitment consultant with a headhunting firm in London, then progressed on to become a full life cycle recruitment consultant. Then I relocated back to Nigeria in 2012, where I started my previous company, eRecruiter Africa. And today, that company has been going for over 9 years, and the company is still active and trading. Initially, when we started Goodtalent, I relied on my previous startup, which funded our initial MVP. And from personal finance as well, personal savings, we're able to get the company going. Then sometime in 2022, we're lucky to get into the Baobab accelerator, which gave us our initial outside funding for us to build the business further. Then we got into another accelerator, which again gave us some funding for us to progress the company. And eventually we were able to close our angel round back in October of 2022 and our round extension in February of 2023. So I found out about the Baobab Network at a conference in London. So I attended an Africa Focus conference where I met one of the co-founders of Baobab. We had a brief conversation. I told him about what we did, and I asked him a direct question if our company was a fit for Baobab. And his straight answer was yes. And so he asked me to apply, which I did. Then we moved on to the team at Baobab. We had an interview and we were able to get into Baobab. I think that was in February of 2022. And the experience has been, I'll say, great. And I'll tell you why. The initial 2 weeks consulting really opened our eyes about our business. You know, yeah, we knew what we wanted to achieve, but we just didn't know how. So Baobab Consulting Service was able to guide us on what we are really doing in the market, and we looked at our competitors differently. We looked at our business, our revenue model differently. And after the accelerator, even though the accelerator is for 3 months, Baobab supports your business for life. So even after the accelerator, I'll say this, we would not have been able to raise our angel round without Baobab. Even though they didn't invest in the angel round because they had already invested in us, but they supported us even as far as the paperwork to send to investors, reviewing our shareholders agreement and all of that. So we're able to, so yes, the experience has been amazing. So because of Baobab Network, we have also met some fantastic companies, you know, some of which we are partnering with. Yeah, lender who have refused to do business with us. Anyway.
Your spouse has refused you.
So we have met some really great companies, you know, and especially in our cohorts. So we met Lender, who's a fintech company who we have plans of some very big partnership, you know, we're currently exploring. We also have companies like SideBrief. They have actually helped us, you know, with expanding across Africa with our local entities, our subsidiaries across Africa. We also met some other companies, including Mighty Finance and also Opus Analytics as well. So yeah, it's been great. So we see Goodtalent as a platform where companies, global companies, when they think about hiring an African software engineer and all the data associated with hiring software engineers in Africa, Goodtalent will be the place to go. So today, Goodtalent has solved one problem, which is finding those talents, vetting their coding skills. Where we're going to now is hiring them, onboarding them, being able to payroll and pay them in any country in Africa. And that's where we are currently. The future is we are going to build a marketplace where companies can actually buy any employee-related services for these individuals that have been hired in Africa. We intend to be a data company so that companies can plug into the data that Goodtalent has to be able to make informed decisions about hiring in Africa and be also able to predict how hiring in Africa will suit them or not. So one of my biggest wins, probably my biggest win being an entrepreneur on the African continent, has been the opportunity and the ability for me to be able to build a company from my spare bedroom to become one of the leading recruitment companies in Nigeria today. And that company started from 0 employees to 32 employees across Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and Ghana. That has been my biggest win. Also, being able to train young people and bring them into having a career in recruitment. Yeah. So, Goodtalent related, my biggest win has been the ability to take an idea from a minimum viable product, which was very basic, to a fully automated platform. I'm working with great engineers, who believe in the business, people who live and breathe the business and always think about the business. And it's always great to be able to work with these sort of people. So I'll say, yeah, my biggest win for Goodtalent is just my current team today. Yeah. So my biggest challenge actually is being a non-technical founder, managing technical people. It's been challenging because you need to, as a non-technical founder, you need to upskill yourself really, really fast, to understand the terminologies and know and being able to spot where you have a situation with timelines. Because as a non-technical founder, my job is to market the company, but I cannot say certain things on the commercial side without my engineers being carried along. So managing software engineers has been my biggest challenge. So my advice to founders starting out in the continent, especially if it's a technology company, I would say build an engineering team quickly. Even if it's just one full stack engineer, it will save you a lot of problems down the line. Being a founder, it's a full-time job. You live, you breathe what you're building. And my advice to budding founders is there is no if when you're starting a company, it's only when. So the focus is that company. You cannot have divided attention. And honestly, you cannot keep a full-time job while trying to start a business because that company is the only thing. So my advice to those type of founders is whatever you're doing, when you have that idea, go for it. There will be a lot of challenges. There will be a lot of days where you don't want to go on, but going on will, at the end of the day, you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You know that works.
Yeah.